Newlyweds Gillian and Tom have moved into a house. When they discover a strange door in the basement of their home, these secrets begin to threaten their lives. A strange, frightening creature begins to follow the girl around. Tom and Jill, a couple who have just gotten married, celebrating their new life together in the house where Tom grew up, a present from Tom's mother. They are having a good time, laughing and eating sushi, when suddenly they hear a noise coming from the basement. Curious, they decide to investigate the sound and find themselves in a room filled with boxes of Tom's old belongings, reminiscing about their shared childhood. Out of nowhere, a small dog jumps out from behind a storage area and runs upstairs, catching them off guard. Tom and Jill are puzzled about where the dog came from and discuss whether they should keep it. That evening, Tom asks his buddy Jason and Jason's girlfriend over for dinner. During the meal, they talk about old times and discover some of Jill's childhood artwork in the basement, including a character she named Pretzel Jack. Jill explains that Pretzel Jack was inspired by a contortionist she saw at a circus when she was young, leading her to create her own clown character for her stories. The following day, while out buying supplies, Jill sees Tom chatting with a woman named Sarah. Back at home, Jill questions Tom about his relationship with Sarah, suspecting something more. Tom, surprised by her suspicion, explains that Sarah is just a client and reassures Jill, reminding her he is not like her father, who left her mother after being unfaithful. Following their dispute, Tom and Jill make up by apologizing to each other. Shortly after, they are startled by the sudden appearance of a door in their basement, which they cannot explain. To calm their nerves, Tom reaches out to his friend Jason for help. Attempting to force the door open doesn't work, so Jason, in desperation, uses his shotgun to shoot at the door, shocking both Tom and Jill. The power cuts out amidst the chaos, but this somehow causes the door to unlock. Beyond it lies a staircase leading to a second door marked with a handprint. Jason is then strictly told not to use his firearm again. Together, the trio asks their neighbor to check his basement, suspecting him of creating a secret passage into their home, but find nothing out of the ordinary and leave after saying sorry. In the days that follow, they exhaust every method to unlock the door without success, even seeking external help, but to no avail. One day, when Jill is alone, she hears noises from the basement and investigates. Reaching the second door, she impulsively places her hand on the handprint, and to her astonishment, the door swings open. Inside, she encounters a horrifying clown who moves in a disturbingly unnatural manner before dashing past her. Frightened, Jill immediately contacts the police to report an intruder in their home, but by that time, there isn't much to be done except to have the house watched over for the night. Due to past traumas, Jill has been seeing a therapist to work through her mistrust of men. Tom's encounter with an unknown woman heightens Jill's suspicions, leading her to seek help from Jason, hoping he can shed light on Tom's activities. However, when Jill meets Jason, their discussion quickly escalates into a disagreement. Jason accuses Jill of allowing her past to overshadow her present relationship. Jill tries to defend herself, but Jason continues to undermine her, escalating the situation until a terrifying clown emerges and attacks Jason while Jill watches in horror. The aftermath of the attack brings law enforcement to Jill's doorstep, making her the main suspect in Jason's death. A comment from one of the officers triggers a realization in Jill. That night, she ventures into the basement and examines a sketchpad filled with drawings of Pretzel Jack. This discovery triggers flashbacks to Jill's childhood, including vague memories of a mysterious door in her previous home, though she struggles to confirm its existence. To find peace and clarity, Jill decides to confront these haunting memories head-on. Jill visits her old home, and the new homeowner kindly lets her in. Once inside, Jill sneaks off to her childhood bedroom but can't locate the mysterious door from her memories. Doubting herself, she waits until the homeowner leaves to walk her cat, then revisits her old room. This time, she removes the wallpaper from a specific area and uncovers a door, smaller than the one in her current residence. Opening the door, she finds an odd humanoid shape inside, too distorted to identify clearly. Convinced that Pretzel Jack has come to life, Jill panics when she spots him in her bedroom and calls out for assistance. However, when Tom investigates, he finds nothing, leading him to question her mental state. Likewise, her therapist dismisses her concerns, suggesting medication instead, which frustrates Jill and causes her to leave the appointment early. Feeling isolated and disbelieved, Jill seeks out another person, her neighbor Ian, who listens to her without any preconceptions. Jill shares with Ian her experiences with Pretzel Jack and her fear that she's responsible for bringing this entity into reality, the one she blames for Jason's death. Ian responds with empathy, proposing a different view of the contortionist as a guardian figure rather than a threat, offering a perspective that aligns his actions with protective intentions. Ian opens up to Jill, sharing that as a child, he too created an imaginary friend named the Tall Boy due to his towering height. Meanwhile, Tom has his own hidden life. He discreetly hands a toy to Sarah's baby in the park. Tom is also seen meeting with the mysterious lady, discussing Sarah and noting the baby's resemblance to him, hinting at the possibility that he may be the child's father. These rendezvous are peculiar, as Tom attends therapy sessions with this woman who uses a sensory deprivation tank to help him escape the stress of recent happenings in his overall life. Oddly, she has cameras in the therapy rooms monitoring Tom unbeknownst to him. Jill returns home after her meeting with Ian, just as Tom receives a call on his laptop. With Tom absent, Jill answers the call, only to hear a child's cries and a stern warning directed at Tom, threatening police involvement if he approaches her family again. Pretzel Jack emerges as Jill's anger escalates, attacking the woman who attempts to shoot him, but her efforts are futile. He then targets Tom, wielding a knife and attempting to submerge him underwater. Despite Tom's resistance, he is wounded in the chest during the struggle with the contortionist. The woman, though severely injured, manages to shoot at Pretzel Jack, buying Tom some time to escape. However, the bullet barely affects Pretzel Jack, who contorts his body into a spider-like form and pursues Tom. In a frantic escape attempt, Tom jumps into the woman's car but struggles with its manual transmission, inadvertently reversing into the path of an oncoming van on the main road. Witnessing the crash, Pretzel Jack decides to retreat. Jill learns of Tom's hospitalization and is about to leave when she notices the front door open and hears noises downstairs, only to find Ian entering with a dog, explaining its escape. She feels a sense of relief and asks Ian to accompany her until she can go to the hospital, and he agrees to drive her. At the hospital, Tom is visibly upset to see Ian with Jill, creating an uncomfortable situation. Jill senses the tension and requests Ian to leave. Later, the police visit, showing them surveillance footage of the clown's attack on Tom in the pool. They reveal the woman's identity as a doula and express curiosity about Tom's connection to her, given she doesn't publicly advertise her therapy sessions. When asked about Sarah, Tom remains tight-lipped, revealing little. Tom recalls Jill's sketches of Pretzel Jack, suspecting a stalker might have crafted a mask to emulate the contortionist clown from her artwork. Once released from the hospital, back at home, Tom inquires if Jill knows the assailant. Jill reveals it's me and leads Tom to what remains of Pretzel Jack, resembling a charred, empty mannequin she retrieved from her previous residence. She explains that after moving away, Pretzel Jack vanished but has now returned to guard her from harm. Tom struggles to understand, questioning why Pretzel Jack would attack him. Jill mentions the baby she heard crying during Sarah's call and presses Tom for the truth. Tom admits his past involvement with Sarah, who was already married. He ended the affair upon starting his relationship with Jill, later learning Sarah was pregnant, likely with his child. Sarah had warned Tom to maintain distance to keep her husband in the dark. Jill is livid upon learning the truth, her anger awakening Pretzel Jack, who reassembles himself from beneath a nearby patio, ready to approach Jill's home once again. When Jill and Tom get out of their car, they are on their way to see Jill's psychiatrist together, hoping to mend their relationship. However, the session doesn't go as planned. Both the psychiatrist and Tom are skeptical of Jill's experiences with her fictional friend, causing Jill to become upset. She warns them that Pretzel Jack is near as the lights start to flicker, but the psychiatrist reassures them nothing will happen. Then, Pretzel Jack enters through a window and attacks the doctor, leaving Jill and Tom horrified. The couple quickly leaves the building and finds Ian, who is unexpectedly ready to help them escape in his truck. Pretzel Jack follows them closely for a while, but they eventually manage to elude him. Tom is in shock as they drive to Ian's house, where Jill seeks a way to defeat Pretzel Jack. Ian describes a brutal method to completely destroy Pretzel Jack, but also proposes an alternative learning to coexist and manage it. Acknowledging Pretzel Jack's existence and Jill's role in creating him, Ian suggests drawing him into a trap to then master control over him. However, this requires Jill to face significant emotional challenges. They gather in a special room Ian calls the dream door, where Jill's intense emotions seem to draw Pretzel Jack closer to their location. As the situation escalates, Tom steps out of the room but freezes upon spotting Pretzel Jack near the staircase. As Jill answers her phone and hears her dad's voice, Pretzel Jack rushes at Tom but veers into the room to confront Jill, who remains serene. She performs a series of movements that captivate Pretzel Jack, and he embraces her, providing a sense of security and joy. Suddenly they hear Sarah calling for Tom from upstairs. Tom rushes to meet her and Jill and Ian follow. Seeing Sarah argue with Tom outside, Jill becomes agitated, prompting Pretzel Jack to attack. Sarah is injured in the leg and Tom escapes with her, with Jill and Ian close behind. During their escape, Sarah reveals to Tom through conversation that the child isn't his, based on DNA testing, which is why she sought him out. They find refuge in a gym, where Tom conceals the wounded Sarah in a locker room and attempts to distract Pretzel Jack. The chase leads to the pool area, where Pretzel Jack tries to submerge Tom once more. Arriving at the scene, Jill panics at the sight of Tom in peril because of her creation, but Ian encourages her to focus and guides her in taking control of Pretzel Jack. With her newfound control, Jill rescues Tom first. Then, with Ian's assistance, she mentally overcomes Pretzel Jack, leading to his dissolution into white dust beneath the water. In the aftermath, Jill and Ian collapse, with Jill experiencing a bleeding ear. They rush Sarah to the hospital, where an uncomfortable silence ensues among them. Seeking clarity, Sarah requests a private conversation with Jill, assuring her that Tom is not the father of her child, which dispels Jill's doubts but doesn't alleviate her unease over Tom's deceit. Outside the hospital room, Tom feels wary of Ian and decides to distance himself, inadvertently encountering the detectives. Concurrently, Jill requests a ride from Ian, expressing her desire to not return home but to master her mental abilities. Ian obliges, taking her to his family's vacation home, which strangely feels familiar to Jill. After settling her in for the night and ensuring she's asleep, Ian browses through her phone, discovering numerous missed messages and calls from her father, urging her to meet him. Exhausted from his interaction with the detectives, Tom arrives home to find it empty. Searching for Jill, he checks his phone and sees a frantic message from Jill's dad, Bill, pleading for Tom to inform Jill that he needs to speak with her urgently regarding a significant family matter. The narrative shifts to a motel, showcasing Bill as he sits alone, nursing a drink. Upon hearing a knock, Bill opens his motel door to find Ian, who calls him Dad, revealing that Jill is Ian's half-sister. Ian, harboring resentment towards his father, summons Tall Boy, who fatally attacks Bill. Shortly after, Tom arrives at the location given in Bill's message, only to see Ian leaving the motel. Inside, Tom searches for Bill but finds his specified room vacant, as though Bill had never been there. The following day, Ian begins teaching Jill, astonishing her by claiming he created her dog. Discovering her phone destroyed, Jill feels an overwhelming sense of unease and steps outside for air, unaware of Tall Boy's surveillance. Returning, she finds a toy dog identical to one from her childhood in a closet, instilling immediate fear. She manages to maintain her composure in front of Ian, insisting on returning home. Meanwhile, Tom encounters an identical version of his dog, which leads him to Ian's residence. With no one around, Tom investigates and uncovers photos and evidence confirming Ian as Jill's half-brother. When Ian and Jill arrive and find Tom with the discoveries, Tom confronts Ian about the revelations. Jill realizes the reason the house seems familiar is because her dad had brought her and her mom there occasionally, where she once left her toy dog. Understanding the truth, she becomes enraged with Ian for deceiving her. Despite Ian's claims of acting in her best interest, he reveals the shocking sight of Bill's partially devoured body in his garage, eaten by his own created dogs. Disturbed by the gruesome discovery, Jill demands Ian to keep his distance and immediately contacts the police. Authorities, including officers and detectives, arrive promptly, and Ian admits to his father's murder and claims responsibility for Jason's death. He reveals his motives for residing close to Jill, including eliminating the condo's previous owners. Ian is apprehended by the detectives, but during transport, they are halted by a school bus. In this moment, Tall Boy emerges, wielding drill machines, and savagely eliminates the detectives. After overcoming their recent ordeals, Jill and Tom find solace in each other's company, reaffirming their love. However, The peace is short-lived when Tom steps outside to find Ian blood-stained on his porch. Tom tries to alert a nearby officer, but Tallboy gruesomely ends the officer's life. In a desperate attempt to escape, Tom discovers Ian has magically created a door behind him, revealing a red hooded figure menacingly staring at Tom, further entangling them in Ian's dark world. When Tom doesn't respond, Jill steps outside and discovers the fallen officer and a chilling invitation to the abandoned neighborhood, scrawled in his blood. In this deserted place, Tallboy is seen hauling Tom into an under-construction site, stopping near Ian, who has been sustaining himself with food. Ian declares his affection for Jill, believing their special abilities link them, which Tom finds repugnant. Seizing an opportunity, Tom escapes, with Tallboy in pursuit. Meanwhile, Jill heads to the desolate neighborhood looking for Ian, unaware that cloaked figures shadow her. A security guard's attempt to intervene ends tragically as he's fatally assaulted by these figures. Horrified, Jill evades them and encounters Tallboy. She then stumbles upon someone she believes to be Tom, but after an unsettling encounter she realizes it's one of Ian's creations, designed to mimic human emotions. In a desperate act, she defends herself, eliminating the imposter with a sharp fence piece. At that moment, the genuine Tom appears, proving his identity by showing his real, red blood, bringing Jill immense relief as they embrace. The next day, as they venture outside, the persistent menace of Tallboy resumes their chase, signaling their ongoing struggle against Ian's dark machinations. Jill and Tom take refuge in a nearby dwelling, where Jill focuses her energies on summoning Pretzel Jack to aid them, while Tom keeps Tallboy at bay. Just when Tallboy is close to attacking, Pretzel Jack materializes, sparking a fierce battle between the two fantastical beings born from the siblings' imaginations. Quickly, Pretzel Jack overpowers Tallboy, slicing through his head and ending his menace. As they resolve to confront Ian once and for all, he anticipates his fate and flees, using his remaining power to resurrect Tallboy. The chase leads them to another deserted house, where they corner Ian amidst a chaos of colorful runes. Ian, stubbornly refusing to let Jill go, attacks her. Pretzel Jack attempts to intervene but is taken down by a rejuvenated Tallboy, split in two. Tom intervenes just in time, and together, he and Jill deliver a fatal blow to Ian. In a tragic turn, Tallboy, in his attempt to defend Ian, accidentally drills into Ian, leading to his painful demise. This act causes Tallboy and the mysterious doors to disappear. In a future glimpse, we see Jill and Tom now parents to a child who inherits Jill's unique gift, capable of creating entities with the potential for violence. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.